Okay, hello guys. In this video, we are going to see a problem from September lead coding challenge, spiral matrix. So, what is its problem statement? Given an m into n matrix, return all elements of the matrix in spiral order. So, this is our 2D vector which we have given. We need to print an vector in this order. So let's see how we can do this thing. So this is our example test case. In this problem, what we will do, we need to iterate over 2D vector in this way, in spiral way, and we will push them in and vector which is an answer vector which we will return from a function. So to iterate in spiral way, what we will do, we will iterate on first row first from 1 to 3, then we will iterate from 6 to 9, then we will iterate from 8 to 7, and at last we will iterate on 4, means we will iterate on first column. Okay, and if there are more elements in array, remaining elements like 5, we will repeat this process on that part. So let's see how we can iterate over this part. If we want to iterate over 1 to 3, what we'll do, we will have an starting row, starting column at 0th index, which is 1, and then starting row at 0th index, which is also 1. Yeah, at here we have ending column, and at here we will have ending row. So yeah, so to iterate from 1 to 3, we will use an for loop, like for I equal to SC to EC. We are in first row, which is starting row. So what we will do, we will push matrix of SR, which is the coordinate for row, and we need an coordinate for column, which is I, which will vary to iterate. Then we will go for our next step, which is from 6 to 9. We need to iterate over last column. So we don't have any coordinate for row element of 6, as we have SR at here. So what we'll do, we will increment our SR so that it will came at here, and we can iterate over this part. So we will increment SR plus plus. SR will get incremented. Then we can do for we can iterate from here. This is an SR, this is our SR, and this is ending row, which is ER. So for I equal to SR to ER, what we will do, we will push matrix of I, which is our row, which will help us to iterate, and we are in last column, so this is an EC, this is EC. So that's it. Then to iterate from 8 to 7, as we done at here with starting row, we will do same at here. For ending column, we will decrement ending column. So we will do EC minus minus. Okay. At here we want to iterate from 8 to 7, so we will use for loop again, as for I equal to EC to SC starting column. We will push, we are in ending row, we are in last row, so we are in ending row. We will push matrix of ending row and ith column, which will iterate. Then we again decrement our ending row so that we can iterate over 4. So ending row minus minus, and to iterate over 4, what we will do, we will iterate from I equal to ending row to starting row, SR. We will push matrix of starting row. We are in starting column, so we will do matrix of I in square braces SC, which is starting column. Then we will increment starting column so that we can go for next iteration. Yeah. The most common question in this case is, this is the difficult part, how we are going to repeat this process on this part of array. So we can have an condition that when our SC when our starting elements are less than or equal to ending elements, then we will iterate. Like we will have this whole thing in a while loop whose condition will be starting row is less than or equal to ending row, and starting column will be less than or equal to ending column. Okay, so let's implement this in code on leetcode. So what we'll do, we will have an vector of integer answer. Then as we have discussed, we will use for loop to iterate over. We will have 4 pointers, 4 variables: integer, starting row which is initially 0, and starting column which is also initially 0. Then we will have ending row which is size of our vector, matrix dot size -1, and we have an ending column which is matrix of 0 dot size. As we have discussed, we will use an for loop whose condition will be this, and we will iterate over these 4 parts and repeat it. So let's say while SR is less than or equal to ER and SC is less than or equal to EC, what we'll do, iterate over, we will iterate over first row. So we will use for loop for integer I equal to starting row, starting column to I is greater than, I is less than or equal to ending column. I will get incremented, and we will push answer dot push back. What we will push? We will push our element, which is matrix of, we are in first row, so this will be matrix of SR and I, and that's it. Then we will increment our starting row, so SR will be incremented. Then we will iterate over last column, iterate over last column. Use for loop, integer I equal to starting row to I is less than or equal to ending row. I will increment it, and we will push matrix of row will be I, and we are in ending column, so EC, and after this we will decrement EC. And then we will iterate over last row. We will iterate over last row by using for loop for integer I equal to I will be ending column in this case, and till I is greater than or equal to starting column, I will get decremented, and we will push matrix of we are in ending row, so ER in I, Y coordinate will be I, and then we will decrement our ending row. At last we will iterate over first column, iterate over first column. So we will use for loop, integer I equal to ending row to I is greater than or equal to starting row. I will get decremented, and we will push matrix of we are in first column, so matrix of I square braces first column, which is starting column, and then we will increment our starting column. SC will get plus plus. Now at last we will return SC, answer, which is our vector. So let's see, will it work? Yeah, we are getting some excess elements, so let's see why is this happening. Okay, got it. In this process the SR and EC are changing, so this condition may be not satisfied at this point, so that's why we are printing excess elements, like we are iterating from this portion, but at one point our start column, suppose our start column is at here, and this is our end column, Yeah, no, this is our end column. So if we increment our start column at this point, start column will get at here and end column will get at here, but we haven't checked any condition, so that's why we will print 6. So let's add this condition: if our start row is less than or equal to end row, we will do this thing. If this thing is true, then we will iterate over last row, and if our start column is less than or equal to end column, then we'll do iterate on first column. That's it. Let's see, will it work? Okay, it's working fine, so let's submit it. Accepted. So that's it for this video, guys.